So in this video, I wanted to talk about flexibility and the ability to change and evolve in design systems. So even right from the earliest days, way before you start, it's something you can think about. You need to not be constrained by every decision you've ever made. And you need to make sure that other people don't see the design system as being somehow etched in stone and immutable. Change isn't easy, but factoring it in early and making an assumption that you will learn more, the community will learn more around you, and so you will need to adapt and change. Some of the knock-on effects might be, if you know you can change things, maybe there's less pressure on naming things right, because naming things can be difficult, and we'll talk about that another time. But if you don't have the pressure of this is going to be etched in stone with a naming convention or a structure of design tokens or something, you're then likely to feel that it's not as significant because you can change it. Responding to feedback and keeping to evolve the design system keeps it relevant. So listening to the community, the consumers of the system, making sure it's actually fit for purpose. Sometimes that might be small change, talking about a color or a component. Sometimes it might be a change of technology or design tool. Realistically, over time, one of these things will need to change. So a new design tool might come along, a different technology for your front end or back end. Maybe there's a different way that you want to write CSS. And so all of these parts of the design system should be able to be changed, which has its own challenges because then, as well as being able to change, there needs to be a migration path. How do you go from one thing to another? So you don't need a whole new design system. In fact, it's pretty weird sometimes where I've spoken to some really big companies that have maybe on their fourth attempt at a design system. Obviously, there's a lot of context behind all of this kind of thing, but the goal should be really that you can keep evolving. You can make different design choices. You can make different technical choices, but it's still your design system. If you keep your code and your design one-to-one, so they're the same, different ways of describing the same abstract objects or values, you should be able to change any parts of this whole ecosystem and still be considered a whole design system. That's not easy. Sometimes it might be, how do you release code? And for a designer, that might be quite a long way away from somewhere you're comfortable or know something about. And that's okay. If you know you can release a component from your library, from your code, quite quickly and effectively, and you can instill confidence in those that are consuming the design system in their code or design, you should then be able to say, okay, well, we've learned something new. Let's change this component. Let's change the way that we deliver it to you. Ahead of time, to some degree, you can kind of get a finger in the air estimate for a lot of these things. What if we were to change the name of a component? What does that knock-on effect look like? Are we talking about an hour work? A day's worth of work? These kind of rough estimates give you a sense of change is possible. And of course, there's going to be an overhead. But what skill sets might we need? How long might it take? So you can weigh it up and have that little bit of ammunition. So when you learn something new, you can kind of embrace change a little bit. The design system should keep changing, responding to your user needs and their users. Design systems don't have to be overly constrained, but they can be very opinionated. These things are different.